Andrew Tucker, and welcome to Andrew Tucker World. What's going on, all my great people? What's going on, all my boxing fans? So I run across an article. I'm hearing that Anthony Joshua is going to step aside for $15 million. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much was being offered to Dillian White, but I'm hearing, I'm going to pull it up because I ran across an article and I'm going to pull it up. So I'm hearing that Anthony Joshua is going to step aside for $15 million, but I'm also hearing that Anthony Joshua is looking forward to fighting Alexander Usyk. He's looking to get his belts back. I'm hearing that he's thinking about stepping aside if the money is right, but I'm also hearing that he's looking forward to fighting Alexander Usyk. He's looking to get his belts back. He believes that he can beat Alexander Usyk. He believes that he can get his belts back. He believes that he can defeat the fighter. He believes he can beat the fighter. That's why he activated his rematch clause, because he believes that he came up short the first fight, but it was like 7 rounds to 5. Alexander Usyk, unanimous decision for Alexander Usyk. It was a close fight when I went back to look at the fight. So Anthony Joshua believes this time around that he can beat Alexander Usyk. But I run across an article, and let's pull it up. Let's read. Anthony Joshua, and this is Talk Sport. Shout out to Talk Sport. You know, so you can go read this and go look at this on talksports.com. You know what I'm saying? This is it is a reliable source. You know what I mean? You can trust Talk Sports. Normally they give you factual information. Anthony Joshua makes strong vow ahead of Alexander Usyk rematch, as rumors he'll step aside for Tyson Fury fight. So Anthony Joshua makes strong vow ahead of Alexander Usyk rematch, as rumors he'll step aside for Tyson Fury fight. So as we read right here, the Brit lost his WBO. Hold on, let's read right here. It says, while talks of stepping aside appear ongoing, Anthony Joshua remains fully focused on what he plans to do to Alexander Usyk. So it seems like the two-time unified heavyweight champion, I think he's still focused. He's been training. He's been traveling, coming to America and doing different things, literally trying to prepare for Alexander Usyk. A very great fighter, a very skilled fighter, fundamentally sound, pure fighter, 2-division world champion, former cruiserweight undisputed champion, now unified heavyweight champion, 2-division world champion. Alexander Usyk is an experienced elite level fighter. You know what I mean? Very fundamentally sound, superior skills. He has a very difficult style to deal with. His style is difficult for any fighter at heavyweight. I have to be honest and I have to tell the truth. But I believe that Anthony Joshua prepares. He will prepare for a Usyk style. He will go in the fight and it'll be an epic battle. I think next time around, you know what I'm saying, it will be a different fight. But it's a great fight though, between two skilled monsters, two skilled beasts. Anthony Joshua brings back that killer instinct. He brings back that animal. He brings back that monster, and he goes in there and tries to destroy Alexander Usyk. It's easier said than done, but I believe he is skilled enough. You know, being 100% mentally and 100% physically prepared, and also having the right game plan. I believe he can beat Alexander Usyk, or can Usyk win? Usyk can win again. You know, I'm just being honest. But Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk is a great fight. I have nothing against that fight. You know what I'm saying? Undisputed is a big fight. You know, but I will also love the rematch of Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, and I will also like the fight between Tyson Fury and Dillian White. You know, but there I'm hearing some very powerful people, you know, coming from out of the Middle East, looking to pay money to Dillian White and Anthony Joshua for them to step aside to have a mega fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury can go forward for undisputed, which is a good fight, a great fight, a big fight as well. So let's continue to read. While talks of stepping aside appear ongoing, Anthony Joshua remains fully focused on what he plans to do to Alexander Usyk. The Brit lost his WBO, WBA, IBF, and IBO World Heavyweight titles to a Ukrainian last September, but a rematch clause in the contract was immediately exercised, and it was expected to happen in April of this year. Anthony Joshua is preparing like he'll face Alexander Usyk again. Let's continue to read. Speaking to Lifestyle Magazine stuff, Joshua was defiant about his chances when taking on Usyk again. So it's saying Joshua was defiant about his chances when taking on Usyk again. I've come up short twice, but the majority of times I've overcome many obstacles. This is coming from Anthony Joshua. Next fight, I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to take those belts from him. And I'm going to reign again to become 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, whether people like it or not. So people feel Anthony Joshua has no chance. He feel like he has no opportunity. A lot of people counting him out. A lot of great fighters in the sport of history. A lot of great fighters in the history of the sport. Legendary fighters. A lot of great fighters in the history of the sport, in the sport of boxing, have taken L's to and also came back to claim victory, also came back to dominate and to win fights after taking a loss or two. So it's nothing new. It happens in the sport of boxing. Nowadays, a lot of boxing fans, when a fighter take 1 L or 2 losses, or a loss or two, they so quick to count him out, saying that he's a bomb, he's never was this, he was a hype job, he was overrated, and things of that nature. But not following the fighter's career, not actually looking at the fighter's career, not following and looking how the fighter prepares for a fight, how he trains, how he spars, looking at what the fighter was able to accomplish, whether it was amateur, whether it's Olympics, or in the professional ranks. You know what I'm saying? And what a fighter has accomplished, and what he was able to do in the sport of boxing. And then when I look at Anthony Joshua accolades like Alexander Usyk and like Tyson Fury, and also Dillian White and certain fighters like that, they have beaten certain fighters. But look at Anthony Joshua's resume, Dillian White resume. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at Anthony Joshua, 2-time unified heavyweight champion. It's easier. It's like something of a major accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? To have 3 major titles, including another belt, the IBO, which is not a noticeable belt or recognizable belt, but it's 4 titles that the champion, the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion have held 4 titles, but 3 of the major titles. And what he have accomplished in the heavyweight division, his resume, it says a whole lot. You know what I mean? And he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the top heavyweights, just like Deontay Wilder, just like Tyson Fury, just like Dillian White, just like certain fighters like Andy Ruiz Jr. These guys they are top heavyweights. I'm naming a few fighters in the top, in the top 10. You know what I mean? It's quite a few. It's some monsters. It's some destroyers. It's some animals. It's some beasts in the heavyweight division. But as far as who's accomplished more, you know what I'm saying? The top 2 would most definitely be, as far as accomplishments, as far as accolades, you know what I'm saying, would be Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? But so we got to respect these fighters for what they have done in the sport. We can't be so quick to count them out with, they lost against this fighter, this style. Sometimes a fighter can have a off night, or sometimes a fighter don't have the right game plan to go up against a certain style. But don't mean that he can go back and prepare and have the right game plan to come back and defeat that fighter. You know what I mean? People acting like Anthony Joshua was knocked out against Alexander Usyk. He wasn't knocked out against Alexander Usyk. He was just outpointed in 7 rounds. You know what I'm saying? That I gave Usyk, he was outpointed. Anthony Joshua was outpointed by Alexander Usyk, but Anthony Joshua won 5 rounds against a pure boxer puncher. You know what I'm saying? So he's looking this time to not just box with this guy, but be smart at being aggressive and walk him down and use his size and do some things he didn't do in the first fight. He feels that he has what it takes to beat a fighter that's on the level of an Alexander Usyk. So let's continue to read. I come up short twice. This is coming from Anthony Joshua. I come up short twice, but the majority of the times I have overcome many obstacles. Next fight, I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to take those belts from him, and I'm going to reign again to become 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, whether people like it or not. Joshua has triggered his contractual clause for a rematch with Usyk and would have to be paid to step aside. So right here it's saying Joshua has triggered his contractual clause for a rematch with Usyk and would have to be paid to step aside. Promoters Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum have been very open about the talks regarding Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk potentially fighting for the undisputed heavyweight title. Of course, that would mean Dillian Whyte, Fury's WBC mandatory, and Anthony Joshua contractually obliged to rematch with Usyk would both have to step aside and presumably, excuse me, forgive me with my reading. I'm like half asleep, but presumably for obscene amounts of money. Both fighters are promoted by Hearn. 2. AJ has previously stated that he does not want to step aside, but if the business offer was too good to turn down, it's something they would consider. Who would get the next shot at the winner out of Whyte and AJ? There's a lot to figure out, and as Hearn has stated, it's very complex. It's a very complex thing to negotiate. So right here, we're going to read this again. It says, promoters Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum have been very open about the talks regarding Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk potentially fighting for the undisputed heavyweight title. Of course, that would mean Dillian Whyte, Fury's WBC mandatory, and Anthony Joshua contractually obliged to rematch with Usyk would both have to step aside and presumably for obscene amounts of money, but both fighters are promoted by Hearn too. AJ has previously stated that he does not want to step aside. So we're hearing that Anthony Joshua doesn't want to step aside. You know what I'm saying? But for the right amount of money, he may be considering, and I know Eddie Hearn is in his ear, those guys are in this ear, probably Eddie Hearn, and Joshua's team is in his ear, probably telling him, go ahead and just take the step aside money. Maybe you're going to get the winner of Fury and Alexander Usyk, and trust me, that'll put you in position to make a lot more money because you're facing the winner, of that fight. So if it's Alexander Usyk, it's you guaranteed a big money. You guaranteed big money. If it's Fury, even bigger money. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing. And I won't undispute it, but honestly, you know what I mean? It's all up to Anthony Joshua. It says contractually obliged to rematch with Usyk would both have to step aside and presumably, but for obscene amounts of money. Both fighters are promoted by Hearn too. AJ previously stated that he does not want to step aside, but if the business offer was too good to turn down, it's something they would consider. So it's something that they would consider. So Joshua maybe he would take the step aside if the offer was good. And I'm hearing from one of my other sources, and I'm hearing that is like $15 million was being offered. Being offered to Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? To step aside to let Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury fight. Who would get the next shot at the winner out of Whyte and AJ? That's the question, right? There's a lot to figure out, and as Hearn as Eddie Hearn has stated, it's a very complex thing to negotiate. Arum told talk sports, it is total chaos. Aram said, "What's happening is just promises coming out of the Middle East about doing a unified fight with Usyk and Fury, and is Dillian White going to step aside? That's the question. Is Dillian White going to step aside? Dillian White is also in the middle of this situation, and it's all up to him. If he's, and I know that when it comes to Dillian White, I know for the right amount of money he'll probably do it, but he really wants the title. He wants the lineal status, and he wants that WBC heavyweight title. You know what I'm saying? It's about legacy with Dillian White, just like it's about legacy with Anthony Joshua. So, and I know it's about Fury trying to fight Usyk. I know it's legacy with him. It has to be if he's trying to fight Usyk. Undisputed is big, and I know it's about legacy with Alexander Usyk, of course. You know what I'm saying? So the question is, what's happening is just promises coming out of the Middle East about doing a unified fight with Usyk and Fury, and is Dillian White going to step aside? That's the question. And people that have absolutely no contractual ties, like Frank Warren's, Queensberry, and our top rank dude are getting involved. So they're saying, and people that have absolutely no contractual ties, like Frank Warren's, Queensberry, and our top rank dude, and our top rank. Excuse my reading. I'm sorry about my reading. It's the typo of this article. It's the typo. And people that have absolutely no contractual ties, like Frank Warren's, Queensberry, and our top rank dude, are getting involved. You know what I'm saying? It's a typical terrible kind of situation, but hopefully it'll get sorted out, and probably it will get sorted out with a purse bid on Friday. Still, Joshua has been doing his due diligence and looking at new trainers for his showdown with Usyk. AJ realizes he needs to bring something different to the table when he meets Usyk once again, and he has toured America looking at different prospective trainers. So at the end of the day, Anthony Joshua is doing all of this moving around, looking at different trainers, looking at a trainer to be his head trainer for a fight with Alexander Usyk. So it's looking like that Anthony Joshua is really looking forward to fighting Alexander Usyk. You know what I mean? But they are considering step aside if the money is right. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel Anthony Joshua really wants to fight Alexander Usyk, and really, and he's doing all of this preparing and training and getting ready, because I think he really wants, it's about legacy with him getting his titles back, becoming 3-time unified heavyweight champion. It would be a big accomplishment, a major accomplishment to beat Alexander Usyk and get his titles back. But you guys, let me know how you feel about this situation. Let me know how you feel about what's going on in the comment section, and who's gonna be next. Is we going to get the undisputed bout with Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, or Joshua's going to go forward to fight Usyk, or Dillian White is going to go forward to fight Tyson Fury, or they're going to step aside? I don't know. You guys let me know what's going on. But if I feel that Dillian White really wants that WBC heavyweight title, and wants that lineal Ring Magazine. He wants the lineal status, and I think Joshua really wants his belts back. But we have to wait and see. Andrew Tucker World. More live streams are coming. More videos are coming. So you guys make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, more content coming. More videos is coming. Much love and respect. And I'm out.